Welcome back to the Fierce and Femme podcast.
With your hosts, Rami and Alicia.
Talking all things fitness, mindset, and everything in between.
To help you become your most fierce and femme selves. Today's guest is a master of communication, qualified in Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Arts, with a major in politics and a minor in marketing, communication, and advertising. She's about to start her practical legal training in June and will be admitted to the Supreme Court of Victoria in November.
She's been coaching and teaching for 5 years, where she's run 7 retreats, 15-day events across Australia, taught over 500 people, both nationally and internationally, the importance of communication in high-pressure situations whilst remaining calm, clear, and composed. Welcome, Sarah.
Well, hello. The whole time you were saying that, I was like,
Receive.
Come on, receiving, but also like, can we wrap this up? Hi.
Welcome. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yay, slay. Right, we're going to get straight into our rapid fire questions that we ask every guest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Slay. What makes you feel your most fierce?
I would say anytime I'm teaching, put a blazer on, feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love. What makes you feel your most femme?
Anytime I'm like writing creatively.
Ah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Is that like story writing or?
Anything. Any form of like
Oh.
writing. I just feel I'm in my flow, you know?
Interesting.
If you could say one thing to your younger self, what would it be?
Ooh. I would say that just because you're introverted doesn't mean you can't speak.
Love. I'm like, this is opening up so many things
You're
already.
That was amazing.
What's one word to describe your current era?
Rebuild.
Oh, I like that.
What's a random fact about you that no one knows?
I was actually thinking about this. I'm like, what is something that no one would
It's
know
so
about me? I
hard,
feel like
isn't it?
everyone, I'm such an open book. I would say a lot of people are either surprised to know that I'm an only child,
Oh.
that I'm half American, and that I spoke Italian or studied Italian for 15 years.
Can you still speak
Wow.
Italian?
A little bit, yeah. I can understand
my
Can
it.
you say
God.
something now?
Just on the spot. We're testing you.
Can you do the whole podcast in Italian? Ciao.
Good one.
Classic.
Where in America is your family from?
California.
Yeah, I've got family in Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky.
Very different sides.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've got family in Texas as well.
Oh, no way. Love. Last one.
Yep.
If you had to describe yourself without saying what you do for work, what would you say?
Well, this is a complicated one because I do a couple of things. I would say I get paid to argue really well. I would say
Nice.
that. And I leverage my strengths of being opinionated to teach others how to do the same.
Oh, I'm so excited for this
Yeah.
conversation.
I'm also a bit scared knowing the questions that we asked.
true.
about
The
ourselves.
specific one. All right, let's get into it. So, nice and easy.
Mm-hmm.
What is the importance of communication that you think most people underestimate?
I think in the best way, I wanted to describe it in 2 different ways. The first thing is I believe a lot of people underestimate the power of our voice, both positively and negatively. And the amount of people that I've taught, like you said, over 500 people, everyone's got a story. You know, we all have a story, but when we're told we're too much, we're too loud, we're not good enough, we're too shy. We all have a story, right? And we carry that on into adulthood. We are responsible for other people's story. And when you don't learn how to communicate, you become someone else's story. So when they grow up and they go, I was told I was too much. And you said it in a comment in passing, and you don't remember it, but that person does. And I think that's where communication is so important because it has everything to do with the other person and everything to do with how you interact with one another. And we don't take that responsibility seriously. And that's why we have so many people now, public speaking, people fear that more than death. You know, that means people would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. That's a problem. So where do we look at, how am I contributing to that? And it's because we don't look at what our voice is doing. And that is something I think people don't understand is every single day from the way I interact with you right now to the way I interact with clients, that has an impact. To the way I ordered my coffee this morning, the way I interact with the producers here, that leaves an impact. If I come in and I'm rude, you're probably more likely to go and be rude to someone because I've been annoyed to you, or I've spoken a particular way, and then you're going to have the rest of the day really wrong. Is that your fault? No, probably mine, because I started it. And that's the second part, which is like the ripple effect of communication, is we don't look at that enough. And that's why social media can be such a dangerous place, because we can post and share and redo all these different things and not realize the harm that's being done. So I think that's something people don't understand for sure.
Wow.
Are we good?
What fucking landed so hard was that eulogy bit. Like, people would rather be in the coffin than write a eulogy. That's deep. I love that.
Yeah,
I love the
huge.
hard-hitting stuff. Yeah.
Well, and that to me is like, how do we not see that as a problem?
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me you'd rather be dead than speak with a voice that you have, a voice that you use every single day, but you'd rather be dead, you know? And that's the thing with, like, personally, I think I come at that through that perspective, is because I've written more eulogies and speeches. You know, that's my life. This work has been shaped by grief. So, like, when I saw that statistic, you know, 75% of the population fearing this, like, why are we not doing anything about it? Why are we going, oh, that's normal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should be scared. Yeah, you're right. I just won't say the honest thing, or I won't do this thing because I'm scared. Like, when has that ever become a good enough reason, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the part where it's like I grasp onto that because I'm like, this is hello. Like, are you not concerned about this? Like, I'm concerned about it. And that's where my work kind of comes in to help change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That honestly ties perfectly into the next question is I think a lot of the reason people are afraid to speak up is the consequences if they do speak up. What are some consequences, I guess, on both speaking up and not speaking up that either you've experienced or witnessed?
Well, I can come at this through like two perspectives.
Yeah.
The first is like obviously like what I've witnessed firsthand in my own line of work, like legally, but equally like with teaching, like where have I seen the ramifications? But where this work actually started for me, which a lot of people potentially don't know, is, and this is the way I always frame it, is I didn't learn how to communicate because I wanted to, it's because I had to. And this was a story that, like, obviously I won't go into too much depth because we'd be here all day. We don't need to be. But I used to be someone that was like incredibly a stubborn communicator, like incredibly stubborn. Like, I had to win, you know, like that was in high school. It was a thing. Like, people wouldn't talk about me or gossip about me because they knew I would address it. And people became afraid of me. And to a degree, I liked that because at least if you're afraid of me, you're not going to talk about me. Yeah. And that was like a protection thing for me, because the more stubborn I am, the more argumentative I am, the more you're not going to bother me. And that obviously created a really good foundation for being a law student.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was like, that's
really well.
So obviously that really set my career path in law. But where I saw it like have a firsthand experience is I had a best friend who was very similar to me in personality. He was equally a stubborn, fierce, intelligent, probably the most intelligent man I've ever met. And when we got along, it was like twin flames, like that level of like soul connection, like platonic, but like we deeply understood one another. But it means when we fought, it was like an eruption, like genuinely. And it was followed always by silent treatment, you know, and that's what a lot of people do in conflict is like you blow up and then like, we're not going to talk about it for a while. And this happened numerous times with this particular friend, and it happened again and again. It was just like this vicious cycle that we were in, because what happened is like neither of us were honest about the needs that were not met in the relationship. Because if I was to be honest about that, what kind of can of worms is that going to open for me? And that's what people are so scared of, is like, if I'm honest about where you're not meeting me, what's going to happen as a result? And this just happened like with him. It was a normal cyclical nature of our dynamic, and it happened and I didn't think anything of it. And I was stubborn and I didn't apologize, and I had the silent treatment. And then all of a sudden 1 month turns into 2 months, turns into 6 months, turns into a year, who I haven't spoken to him, you know. And this is someone like, and I say he's like my best friend, like I genuinely mean that. And where this story takes a turn is he passed away. And our last conversation was an argument. Not a reconciliation, not a resolution, not a I love you, not not anything, you know? And I found out he passed away on Facebook, you know? Yeah. So it's like all these different factors came into it. And it was like the biggest wake up call, genuinely. I was like, I will never, ever get closure, ever. No matter how much therapy you get or counseling you get, or no matter how much work you do on yourself, you can never outrun grief, ever. And you just learn to exist with it. And that's where I was just like, this cannot happen to me again. Like, genuinely, I cannot have another relationship where I didn't get to resolve or reconcile or at least be honest, because I decided my pride was bigger than the relationship. So that would be like the first reason as to where this work kind of existed and the first consequence for me. And that's why I said before, like, I didn't want to. It's not like it was on my vision board. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't on my goals. Like, this year, I'm going to be a better communicator. Like, that's not what happened with me at all. It was, I need this. I actually need this skill. I need to do this because this will happen again, because that's also life, you know? So I think that's the consequence. You don't know you're having the last conversation till you're having it. And what I mean by that is you've already had it. And then the moments pass and you're just gone, did I use my words or did I communicate in a way that I'm proud of? Because you don't get a redo of that. And I'm someone that has experienced so much grief in my life. So that really fuels me because I see the fragility of life. And that's why, like, every conversation I have, like, I'm always thinking, like, am I proud of how I interacted in that? Am I proud of what I've said? Did I leave a good impression? So I think that's the consequence. Like, and I think people don't understand that until you go through it, you know, and that you shouldn't have to wait to experience death to change. Because think about how many relationships in your life you don't get to resolve or fix because you decided it was too scary. And for me, that's incredibly selfish. So that's the first consequence, I would say, from like a legit life experience of like, you actually don't know if that's your final conversation with someone, and you're telling me you're not going to put emphasis on your words or how you communicate with someone because you're scared. There's bigger things to fear. That's the first thing. I think in a more like a tangible, like practical standpoint, you lose money. Think about business, right? You don't learn how to communicate. No one knows what you do. No one knows your impact. You don't know how to articulate your point of difference. No one knows anything about the depth of your work because you have put it in the too hard basket. Or like, I don't know how to articulate. I don't know. You will lose money and clients and opportunity because you're overlooked. And people always think it's like, just because I'm not the smartest person in the room. Intellect has nothing to do with that. It's how willing are you to hold a space or hold a room or hold a conversation, even if you feel inadequate, you know? So there's so many consequences from that to, you know, the relationships that you experience. Like, I'm sure you both can understand, like with your own friendship, like the depth that you two have is because of how honest you are with one another. Yeah. But imagine if you didn't have that, or you just like, hey, how are you? We should catch up soon.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of relationship is that? But people normalize that. And that's fine. But I think people don't understand there's actually more depth to relationships than that. And that's why, like, even with my friends, I'm so mindful of saying catch up. Like, let's catch up. No, I should be caught up. I should know. I don't need to catch up with you. I'm caught up because I maintain this friendship. It's not about messaging every day. It's about the depth of the conversation you have with someone when you're with them, when you do speak with them. For me, communication is the foundation of everything in life. Think about it. Like, literally, this podcast is communication. You know, everything we do is that. So you not working on that, the consequence, it's huge. It's huge. And I can't really think of a world or like an example of where there isn't a consequence to it. But then when I think about the positives, you know, the positive ramification of it, I think like the more that you learn how to be honest, or the more you learn how to have an opinion, or the more you learn to advocate for yourself, the more respect you build. Because you know that no matter who you're talking with, what conversation you're having, no matter where you are, you've got you. And that's an incredible place to be. You know, like that feeling of like, for example, coming in here today, we hadn't met prior to this, which is great. I don't care. And But I could have come into this really scared. I could have come in and been like, oh my God, like we've only had one Zoom. That was 2 days ago. And we just met and I parked in whoop whoop. You know, I could have had that experience and been like, oh, I'm going to go in, like I say the right thing. And but no, I know that no matter what you ask me, I've got me. And I can handle that. Like that's a level of confidence that no superhero pose or affirmation can build for you. That's competence and that's repetition of skill. And to me, like everyone should chase that, particularly women. Because when you get that skill of being able to talk about anything to anyone, there's no situation where you run away going, oh my God, why did I say that? You know, because you're like, no, I know what I said because I didn't black out in the moment and disassociate and then come to and go, oh, why didn't I say that one thing? You know, and that level of confidence is something I think everyone should aspire to. That's my very long-winded answer.
No, I love it. I feel like I've had like goosebumps since you started answering that. Yeah.
But I think it's sad though, because a lot of people do wait for trauma, injuries, pain to change. And like my experience with communication was like my dad died in his sleep. So I need to make sure I'm never angry at anyone or they're not angry at me when we go to sleep. Like the way if me and my partner have an argument, I'll be like, bro, we're sorting this out.
Yep.
Because my reality is that you could potentially not wake up. And what am I going to do about that? Because I was too embarrassed or guilty or suki lala to just say how I feel. It doesn't work that way. So thank you for sharing that story because we had no idea. And that's really eye-opening and sad, but equally hopefully people actually learn from it. So thank you.
Of course.
What's your process or tips to communicate clearly and calmly under pressure? Oh, I love that.
Okay. I think, my tips and tricks to communicate clearly under pressure. Well, firstly, we need to address why people can't. And a lot of the time it's we're overthinking, our mind goes blank. I mean, okay, let me flip the question on you guys. Yeah. You're like, okay, that was a reverse.
Yeah.
When you guys are under pressure in the moment and you haven't prepared, what's your immediate fear or response? Like what comes up?
I take a deep breath. And then
like bad response?
It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad response, but like
I was going to say overthinking,
right.
like over-analyzing what I'm going to say.
I think policing forced me to keep thinking.
Yeah.
So I didn't have time to freak out in my workplace. It was, oh shit, eyes are on me. I'm the savior. I have to sort it out. So that's really forced me to go, okay, we can't crash. How do we think bigger? Because I got lives to save, quite literally sometimes.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even the overthinking and analyzing piece, right? Well, you both have two different patterns. Yours is overthinking, over-analyzing. Yours is like taking on mass responsibility. You know, so that in itself is going to be a filtration when you speak because you're going, whatever I'm about to say, this has to be the most responsible answer I can give. You know, so that's a very high threshold to pass your communication through. So when we think about that, typically what happens is we can overthink what we're going to say. We collapse under the pressure. If we don't collapse, sometimes we can actually become quite abrupt in our delivery because it's like I feel an immense amount of responsibility right now. I need to get the right answer. And sometimes we can come across really harsh without even realizing it, which I would say is probably you.
Yeah. Yes.
Can we move on?
No, I love this. This is so good.
And everyone has their own thing, right? Like for me, I still get nervous when I speak. I still have like not right now, but like we'll find now. But sometimes I can have a somatic response. So what I always say is like, let a deep breath be the first word you say, which is what I love that you said. That for me is like that reset because what's happening is we speak from the body. All right. And when I say that, I mean like we literally speak from I say like we speak from our gut. You know, I speak from my gut, but a lot of people speak from their chest. So if you watch them talk, they'll move their shoulders heaps. That's a very dysregulating way to speak. Yeah. So the first thing you take a deep breath, you're taking your voice from your chest to your gut. That's going to help you project your voice more. And when you project your voice more, you hear it and you take yourself more seriously, right? The second thing is really monitor the distance between your chest and your chin. What I mean by that, if I was to sit here, and I'm going to do it for long because it's going to be really ugly, but if I sat here and I've got my chin down, I'm immediately making myself smaller to you because I'm scared. I'm scared about what I'm going to say. I'm scared about how you're going to react. And I'm like this little tiny version of myself. So the distance between my chin and my chest is really small. right? But if I have my chin up, the distance is bigger. What does that mean? I'm giving my body language the opportunity to communicate for me while my words are catching up. So I've taken a deep breath. I've reset my system. Number 2, the distance between my chin and my chest, my body language is giving the indication to someone else that I'm collecting my thoughts. Because 55% of our communication is body language. 7% of it's actually what we say. So 93% is your body and your tone, which is wild, right? So I know no matter what's going to come out of my mouth, the third thing I'm focusing on is my delivery. So if I came on here and I said, communicate under pressure, oh, all right, yeah, whatever. That tone, you're both going to be like, are you annoyed that I'm asking you a question about do you hate me? But if I said, communication under pressure, cool, let's start. That tone gives everything. But by the time I've said that, I'm still collecting my thoughts. So it's like these little, the way I think about it is like, how can we push the stone or the rock down the road a little bit more so I can gather my thoughts and I can gather a little bit of structure? Because the first thing we do when we're communicating under pressure is freak out. A lot of the time, am I going to say the wrong thing? Yep, you will. Will someone die? Probably not. You'll be okay. Will I stumble on my words? Absolutely you will. Absolutely. Will I say a filler word? Yes, you will. All of your fears are going to come true. But not speaking, what's that doing for you? Nothing, right? So that would be like, if I could give 3 tips for communicating under pressure, it's that. And then my final tip would be, what's the point I'm trying to make? What is the point? Let me ask the question. So even if someone asks you a question, right? The best thing to do, repeat back. Is my understanding of the question is this? Cool. I want to clarify my point. Make sure I've retained it. I'm going to say it back to you and you go, yep, cool. I'll formulate my response from there. That's a really good tip. It's asking yourself internally, what's the point I'm trying to make here? Oh, yeah, they've asked me about communication under pressure. Okay, the point I want to make is I want there to be something tangible. Okay, cool. Where do I start? Excellent. And that's what people don't understand about really good communicators is we're internally prompting ourselves all the time. But the rate between prompt and speak is significantly smaller because we've had repetition at the skill. Whereas when you're new to this, people get really scared to hold silence. That's the best thing you can do because then you get to think. And the best speakers in Australia, in the country, lawyers, you should see how slow a courtroom moves. Genuinely, how slow it moves. It's not Suits. It's not Law and Order. It's not any of these I wish. It's not theatrical. It's literally like, Your Honor, may I please confer with counsel? 5 minutes goes by. Your Honor, may it please the court? Yes, Your Honor. Like it's so slow because they have so much information they have to decipher through internally to then be able to say it. Yeah. And I think like my final thing is if you're communicating under pressure, slow down. Take your time. It's okay. It's okay to think. I still do that. Like a client might ask me a question. I'll say, I need some time on that one. Let me think about that one. Not because I don't know the answer, but am I going to say the correct one? I need time to think about the one that I want to give you. So that would be the biggest thing. Don't rush the process. It's not about that because if you rush, you probably will say the wrong thing and walk away going, is there something else? Yeah.
I think something that even landed for me that you just said was the clarifying too, because me and my partner are so different people that he would like ask me a question or say something and I'd interpret it a certain way. And then we get into arguments because we're just misunderstanding the words that each other are saying. Yep. So now we've learned to go, okay, so are you saying that this is what you're saying? So that we actually understand what the other ones, because one word can be taken so many different ways depending on the person you are to. So yeah.
Correct. Perceptions thing, tone, everything. I always do that. Like, is that what you're saying? Okay, cool. Let me move on then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Cool.
Well, what is the number one mistake that you see business owners make when it comes to selling?
Number one, how do I pick one? Credible on paper, can't articulate what they do very well. That's the biggest thing. Like every business owner, if you've got a business, like you're credible to a degree, right? And I bet you could tell me how many years of experience, but how well can you articulate and convey that level of experience? That's the first thing. The second thing is a lot of copycat. And the thing with copycat is it's called the chameleon effect. And it's actually a subconscious pattern a lot of people don't know that they're doing. So you might have seen like online, people are like, oh, people sound like their coach, or they sound like this person, or they sound like this competitor. 99% of the time, it's actually not intentional. It's a subconscious thing. And the chameleon effect served a purpose back in the day when we were cavemen, right? And we did that because when the women stayed back and the men would go to hunt, we had to act like chameleons. Like, how do I fit in with the tribe? How do I fit in with everyone else so we create safety? Now, obviously, as evolution evolved, we don't have that need anymore. We don't need to chameleon and try and copy one another to fit in because we don't have that desire of survival anymore in that particular capacity. But it's evolved into this, which is a behavior of, I see someone successful or popular. How do I mimic that? How do I, copy that to a degree? And we don't realize that. But a lot of people don't sound like themselves because they're copying. And the issue is no one addresses it. It's like, oh, they copy then tell them. They're probably not even aware of it. I used to do it. I look back on my old content. I'm like, what is this? Like, genuinely, what in the actual world are you saying? And I didn't know it at the time. At the time, I was like, this is so good. Like, this is fierce. I'm gonna sell from this. And I didn't. And I'm like, no one cares. No, because you're not talking like you. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest mistakes business owners make is, one, they don't know how to articulate their expertise. Number two, they're too busy looking at comparison of who's successful. How can I talk like them? And then in the process, they create a voice that's not even theirs to begin with.
Amazing. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Oh,
I know. I knew it was coming.
Okay, guys, we asked Sarah to audit our Instagram, our business, and to, I'm so nervous and excited at the same time. So, since you have, if you were to audit the way we communicate on our socials, what is one piece of advice that you could give to each of us?
You both look at me like, I know.
No, because I'm actually like, we need this. Yeah. So when you're like, be selfish, we're like, all right, fine, we're going to chuck one in there. So thank you. We really appreciate this. And we trust whatever you need to say,
And hopefully it also
honestly.
helps anyone who's listening if they go, oh, that sounds like something that I'm doing as well.
Yeah. You're both looking at me like, please.
Go hard, honestly.
Okay, well, should I take control of the conversation?
Sure. Yeah, go,
okay,
please.
Cool. All right. Let's do something different. This will help me, obviously, with my feedback. I'm going to ask both of you to sell to me right now.
Oh, fucking knew you were going to do that, bro. I actually was thinking about that. I was like, she's going to ask this. What am I going to say?
I'm sweating.
You going to go
first?
No, you go.
No, I'll pick. Thanks. Great. And the reason why is I want to see the difference between how you show up on social media versus what you say to me right now.
Oh,
because
I already know.
I'm going to give context. That's why. Because what you're going to say to me right now is probably more accurate.
Yeah.
And I want to see there's a difference.
It even landed for me when you literally said your tip to business owners where you're like the credibility but not the articulation.
Yeah,
like,
same.
I mean, any, mini, money, mo, both of you. Yeah? Like you both do that where you're both so, like your background is insane. Do you know what I mean?
Thanks,
It's insane. Both of you have such a wealth of experience, but I need to be able to care about it.
Yeah.
And by I mean the audience. Like that experience is great, but why do I care? What have you seen? What have you learnt that you're going to give me? So that's why I'm asking you to, and just you can go. You've got a timer there so you can monitor yourself. 60 seconds.
Okay.
You go first.
All right. For me, since leaving Victoria Police especially, is I have seen way too many shift workers burnt out, exhausted, tired. I was one of those people. And I hated going to work. I hated coming home. I could never have a conversation with my partner because I thought we were too different. He wouldn't get the day that I had. And I don't want that for people. I want people to be able to come home and still enjoy their time with their kids and their family and run around the park and not be like, oh my God, I've got all this paperwork that I need to do. I'm inundated with X, Y, and Z and I'm afraid to do this and afraid to do that because in policing specifically, it's very negative. It can be a very dark workplace. And when you do want to be that positive person, everyone's like, no, we don't do that. It's normal for us to be tired. It's normal for us to be exhausted. And I want to be that person to remind people that your life is so much bigger than your job. And I don't want you to look back and be like, I've wasted my time in this place that I hated, or I wasted my time being so tired, because I feel like our personal lives should be so much more important.
So what do you do for work?
Oh,
Right?
Yeah, I guess that's the passion. You're right.
Yeah.
That's the underlying
so I said,
passion.
yeah, sell to me and you told me your story.
Yeah.
But there needs to be emotional resonance for an
Yeah.
audience. They need to care.
Yeah.
Like, so the biggest, our answer's perfect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But it's not perfect for my question.
Mm.
And that's the biggest thing business owners make is we
Yeah.
lead with our passion. But if I tried to sell communication to you through my passion and I didn't lead with what it actually is that I do,
Yeah.
I've lost people because they don't have a buy-in. They don't have emotional resonance with what I'm saying. When you started to get to the point was when you start saying like, I know what it feels like, and you started labeling what someone would be navigating. That's when you start to sell. You know, this is what you're feeling. This is what you're navigating. But I don't know what you do. I don't know what your title is. I don't know how you're going to help me. I just know you sound really motivational. And then you've lost me. So
wow, that was thank you.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. But then also what I want to say, because it's my feedback for you on your social media, is I know that your niche is shift workers, but you also post like, but if you're not a shift worker, I can also help you. That's confusing.
Yeah.
It's like, this is my niche, but if you're this, I can also help.
Yeah.
So then what my recommendation would be is look at the pattern you're helping people with. That's your niche. So for me, for example, mine's obviously communication.
Yeah.
And how to speak clearly, concisely, with composure, all the C's basically, command, composure, whatever, right? But I can help anyone.
Yeah.
Because that is a behavior or a pattern that people have. It's not specific to lawyers or professionals. It's specific to anyone.
Yeah.
So that is like, if you want, you have to make a decision. Like, is my niche shift workers, or is the niche, feeling burnt out, lacking motivation, feeling self-doubt, thinking this is just normal, and you happen to be a shift worker? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
That
then it's
landed
clearer.
so well.
Then it's clearer with
Yeah.
your audience. Like, oh, hang on, I'm not a shift worker. I work a 9 to 5, but I feel that. But I feel like I'm stuck in the 9 to 5 for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So go for the feeling rather than the job, let's say, that the person's in.
Correct. And that broadens who you can help.
Yeah.
Like that's me. Like I work with people in law, finance, marketing. There's not medicine. Like genuinely, there's so many different industries I work with because I work with a pattern.
Yeah.
I work with the behavior, and that's where when you're a business owner and you want to start selling, well, you want people to care. You want people to care about what you do. You have to lead with, what are they going to get from it? That's what we want. We want to know. Like, okay, I get your story, but where's the benefit for me? That's what that was missing. Yeah. Because the experience that you have, like I said, is amazing. But when we're always leading with I, it's about us, not about the audience. And then people go, well, you're telling me a story about you, but where do I fit into this equation? That's how we want to sell. It's like, I have this experience. This is how I can help you because you're navigating this, because you're feeling this particular way.
Yeah.
And that's where communication becomes a dialogue, whereas a lot of business owners are speaking in monologues. They're talking at you. I do this, I do this, I do that because I navigated that. You should hire me for it. Now pay me $100 because I navigated it. So no, where's my buy-in?
Yeah.
Get me to care.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Now I'm like trying to.
Now
put
you're
all
like,
that
you got all this
info.
Now, my feedback will be different.
Yeah, I know. So I help women who really struggle to put themselves first. Again, something that I experience, and I know what it feels like to feel so guilty for putting yourself first and push everything else aside in your life because that's more important, quote unquote, more important than spending time on yourself. And then they end up in a cycle of, I'm fine, but they're really burnt out, or doing everything for everyone else and never really having time for themselves and wondering why they feel so low. But they also believe that that's the right thing to do because they're a people pleaser and really struggle with putting themselves first. I feel like that was awful.
I love how you trailed off because you're like, you immediately, and that's what I want to, my feedback for you on that is you gave me a disclaimer straight away. That was awful. Please don't give me feedback because I'm aware that it was bad.
Yeah.
What if it was really good?
Yeah.
Okay. But now you've planted the idea in my head. So I'm like, yeah, she was bad, but you weren't.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So don't do that. What do you do?
Yeah.
Again, right?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Is this sorry to cut in, but is this really common that you see? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes me
Okay.
feel better.
But it's so common, babe.
Yeah.
Wow.
So common. Like But also,
I feel like I've been doing everything wrong. But this is why we wanted this. So thank you.
That's why I said be selfish. Ask me questions. Yeah, because also people that are listening are going to benefit from it because I'm using you both as case studies.
Yeah, you're welcome, everyone.
Yeah, well, we're putting ourselves in the hot seat. But yeah, no, of course it's common. Of course, because what happens, right, is online people teach online people how to do something without any marketing background or experience or any real world experience. Something I always say is like, you can have a successful business on social media, but if that won't stand outside of social media, I don't care. And that's not to discredit what you build on social media. It's more so like, I want to see how well you can articulate that in the real world as well. Yeah. But of course it's common because we're used to leading with our story. I know what it feels like. I'm a people pleaser. I'm this, I'm that. And great. Okay. Next question. Like, well, how am I meant to pay you money? And it's not surprising you gave me that answer because my feedback from you from a social media standpoint is your bio is so boring. Founder of this, co-host of this, work with me. I have no idea what you do from that. Zero idea. And I know you do about 5 million things. So what's the link? What's the link? Tell me the link. What's the link between all of these things and facets of your life? And share that with me. You know, but what I see both of you do, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it can be done more effectively, is you both share the struggles. It's it's honesty, right? It's vulnerability. However, if that's the only way we can articulate a form of connection, we don't know how to go beyond that. You know, if we're posting videos of us crying, not saying it's wrong, right? But what I'm saying is, what's the point? Like, we're showing the struggle, but why? Go the next step. Why are we showing the struggle? Not like I'm struggling, I'm just like you. Relatability is great, but where's relevance in your work? Show me why that's important because you're still in the work too. Now I've got buy-in. Now I care because you're not above this work. You're just like me. You know, so if you're wanting to share and get people to care, you're both obviously wanting to grow your businesses. Stop saying I, start saying you. Like, I see you and this is the pattern that you have. Not I've done this, I've done that. Because if I led and I sold to you, be like, I used to speak like XYZ, it 100% builds credibility. Of course it does. But if that's the only way I sold to you, really hard to trust me to pay me money. That make sense?
Yeah.
I
feel, I was going to say, I feel something even for me is I've always had such great conversion in person. Like, I've done in-person PT. Yeah. Whenever I meet someone, even if I met them 6 months ago, they'll sign up as a client. Yeah. And so much less online. So I've always been like, what is the difference between people meet me, love me, trust me, want to work with me? And I've struggled to, I guess, bring that online. Yeah. I mean, do you want me to answer the question? Yeah, sure.
That would be really helpful. Yeah, please. Absolutely. So that's a huge thing, right? It's like, oh, when I'm in person, like, you just got to meet me in person, then I'll convert you. But online, and that's where there's a level of like, I'm not saying this is you, but where I believe this exists is a lot of business owners try and be nice rather than being honest. And that's people in general, right? It's like, oh, I want people to feel like, for example, I don't care if you think I'm nice or not. Not because I think I'm a rude person, but I care that I'm honest. Yeah. If you can tell me that, oh, you're an honest person, I've done my job. Business owners are very nice online. Very nice. Like, oh, you should do, and this is like, and it's very fluffy. Like, oh, you know, you need to look after yourself and put yourself first. Okay, and what's the consequence if I don't? Yeah. You know, like, you both have a very honest rapport about you guys. Like, you're obviously, like, I watched clips of the podcast. I'm like, wow, they're a lot more direct than I would think. Maybe not you. But you in particular. I'm like, oh, she is direct. Yeah. That creates a disconnect. When people are online, they're like, oh, she's so soft and gentle and whatever. And then you're super blunt and to the point. They're like, whoa, I don't trust you. Yeah. You know? So when people say content creation is a challenge, it's like, well, where are you lying about what you actually believe? Where can you share your opinions more, your wisdom more, your story more? Yeah. For me, when I think about online, I personally believe who I am online is exactly who I am in person. Like, there's really no difference. And that's like a very liberating way to be. Yeah. But I think somewhere along the way, if you don't feel like online is converting, it's, where am I not being completely honest? Like, what are the conversations I'm having behind the scenes that I should be probably posting about? Yeah. Okay. And that for me is something I've done recently, and it's been my best performing piece of content. And I was like, of course it is. Yeah. Like, kill me. That would be like my brief-ish answer.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that a lot.
Of course.
All right. Well, we are going to go to our community question.
Great idea.
I didn't even write it down, but that's okay. I've got it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Caitlin wants to know, when it comes to her relationship, she struggles to communicate clearly with the confrontation. Is there any specific relationship tips that you could give in terms of that?
No, the reason why I'm laughing is like my partner's a lawyer. Like the way that we navigate conflict is very adversarial. Like very like, this is how I feel and these are the facts. Like
I love
and
that.
when people are like, wow, too late. And my dad's a lawyer. It's like I'm from a family.
Oh my God, wow.
Yeah, I used to be a cop as well. So
Oh, no way.
yeah. So like I come from a family where it's very like, this is how I feel. This is the evidence.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of like, okay, let's add a little bit more humanity to that and like being very lawyerish. So relationships are a tricky one because every relationship is different. So I'll try and give generic advice and like hopefully like it lands in some capacity. Relationships in general. So when I think about friendships, relationships, I always think if you're not navigating conflict, there's a red flag for me. Someone's not being honest, and is it you? Probably. So when you're navigating conflict in a relationship, whether it's romantic, personal, whatever it is, number one, you need to look at what's the conclusion I'm looking for here? What's the result I'm looking for here? A lot of time we enter conflict, and the reason why we get so convoluted in or like drowning in it is we don't have an end in sight and we don't know what we're actually seeking as a resolution. Secondly, which I think is really powerful, is admit that it's a hard conversation. Like there's no hard, I do that all the time. This is a hard conversation for me to have. I'm really going to probably struggle to articulate this, and I would love if you could support me in that. And let the other person know, like, you're not above it. You haven't been stewing on this for days or weeks. Like, you're struggling to articulate this because that creates a level of like vulnerability and connection of like, I'm with you in this problem. So I would always say that. What's really important in any conflict is looking at what's yours and what actually needs to be voiced or not. Because sometimes we think, this is how I feel. I need to tell my partner, my friend, my family member everything. Not necessarily. And it's not you lying. It's going, what do they need to know? And what's actually mine that could actually cause harm if I say it? Or could actually do more damage if I say it? Because now that person thinks that I'm calling them a name, or they made me feel a particular way, but no, their behavior just triggered me back to something else or created a different scenario for me. So that's really important. Like coming into any conflict is like, what's actually mine here? And what's important for my partner or my friend to know that will actually help our relationship? And having that end goal in sight is always really important as well. Of like, what am I actually trying to gain here? And then with any form of conflict, speak slowly and calmly. Sit down. The moment you raise your voice, bring it back down and give your partner permission to pull you in line. I think that's super important with tone of voice particularly, is like tell your partner, if you hear me have a tone about me, address it immediately. We don't hear how we sound all the time. I think having those boundaries or those particular standards in conflict in a relationship is so important because it means that you're going to have a productive conversation rather than one going, that was unresolved, or we blew up and someone slammed the door and I didn't say the thing that I wanted to say, or I started crying and I didn't get my words out. And that's like the final point. Emotions are never a bad thing. Emotions do not mean that you're uncomposed. Emotions are you moving through emotion, and that's fine. You can still speak and cry. You can still feel frustration in your body, feel anger in your body, feel resentment in your body, and still communicate very well. But it means you need to slow down. And a lot of us in conflict like to speak very quickly and just get all the words out and just like blurt it out and like, there you go, you deal with that now. So speak slowly. Allow yourself to actually think, what am I saying? That would be my feedback or my advice.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Our final question is just simply, if you could give our listeners one piece of advice, what would it be?
One piece. I'm like, one piece of advice. I feel like I've already said it, but this is the biggest piece of advice. Aim to be honest, not nice. Because in the process, you probably end up being nice. And when you're constantly in the pursuit of being liked, you will end up not liking yourself. And that is a very sad place to exist in for the rest of your life. That's my one piece of it.
Wow.
What a way to end it.
Thank you so much.
That was incredible. I think
My
it gave
pleasure.
me so much more insight into what you actually do.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know if this was for you too, I thought it would be more about, filler words and more, I guess, service level in communication, not the deep why
Yeah,
behind
it's
what you
beautifully
do,
deep.
which is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably like, I would say like my point of difference is like,
Yeah.
I don't believe confidence is built in those moments. Like the superhero pose or the affirmation or the framework, because that doesn't exist when you're under pressure. You know, that holds up when you're prepared, but no one can pull on a framework when they're under the pump. They're like, oh, what was that framework I learned?
Yeah.
Like 3-7, like make sure I do that pose. And that's not where I exist. I believe that we have a deep pattern and behavior and identity to how we speak. We got to address that first and everything else comes as a result of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Where can our audience find you online?
You can find me. I'm like,
Your house.
My address. You can find me. It's just Sarah Ruby Leffley on Instagram. We're building the website, which is super exciting, which will be the command method. So that will be in the process. That will be out soon by the time this podcast comes out.
Yay.
Otherwise, that's it. Instagram is like my main place where I like to exist and where I post a lot, and you can find me there.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening.
If you're on Spotify, don't forget to give us a follow and rate us 5 stars.
And if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and comment down below.
We'll be back in your ears next week.
Bye.